Alright, time for a winter bonsai video. So here we have the ginkgo. As you can see, all the leaves have dropped off, so you can see the branch structure. Of course, there's not a lot of structure here, but this is a work in progress, and all these nodes on the branch in the springtime will grow branches all through here, so we should have this filling up. So there's a couple things you need to do in the winter so that your trees don't die. Number one, you should know what kind of tree you have, if it's an evergreen or a deciduous or a tropical or something else. Because for the most part you leave bonsai outside in the winter time because they need a dormant period. Of course, the only exception is if it's some kind of tropical tree, then yes, you should bring it inside your house. There are three different methods of storing your bonsai for winter. Number one, in the ground, just outside in your yard, against your house or against a fence or something. Basically, you just dig a hole, put the plant in, and I don't recommend this method. There's a couple reasons. Number one, it's susceptible to animals walking by and eating the tree. Different rabbits or squirrels or something might break off branches if it's left just in the ground without any shelter or box or something over it. So I don't recommend doing that. And anyways, it will be, in the corner of your yard somewhere for 3 months where you can't see it. This is in a garage, so of course I can't see it, in my yard anyways. But if I were to have a greenhouse or something, then it would be more visible. Option number two, greenhouse. If you have a greenhouse, I guess you could put it in there. Stable temperature. Of course, I don't have a greenhouse. And even if I did, I'd have to see what the temperature inside of it would be. So I don't really know much about that. My third and favorite option is putting it in a garage or shed. And I guess I'll talk about this method now. Okay, so my favorite method, which I recommend doing, is putting your bonsai in the garage. Of course, this is kind of if you live up north or something, where I do, which the garage protects against snowfall, wind chills, so that's always nice to have the structure around the tree. Sometimes you might be fortunate enough to have windows which might provide sunlight for evergreens. I've got this table so it's accessible, and what I do in the winter time is well, now I have this wooden box, so I can build a frame around it, 4 wooden beams. And I can always wrap some kind of plastic over it, or they sell that flexible, transparent, plastic, and I could make a box out of that. So now I have the option, and we'll see what I do. But what I have here is the wooden box, and then I have heating cable in the bottom. I was originally going to go with soil heating cable, but they don't have that around here. I checked online. They've got they got it in England or whatever. So what I had to do was I had to do it a bit ghetto. Bought reptile heating cable, and it seems to work. Second time that's fallen when I'm recording, but whatever. It seems to work, and the goal of this is not to heat it up to a tropical paradise inside your garage. This heating cable is to protect the root ball from freezing. With this root ball elevated above ground level, it's more susceptible to freezing, and if the roots freeze in ice, a lot of times that will damage them. So I recommend just picking up that reptile heating cable, having this box, and putting the heating cable around, and I'll show you this in this next clip. Okay, so here's this heating cable. It plugs into this extension cord. It goes down here. I've got it kind of zigzagging across the bottom. And I have it also on the sides here. Then when this is covered with a blanket, it traps the heat in here, and the soil remains damp and not frozen, and there's ice on the ground outside, but this is not freezing, so that's a good sign that the roots will not be damaged in the winter. Okay, so I have the heating cable like that, then you can put a blanket around it. This traps the heat, and of course I'll do a better job when this video is finished. And that will keep the root ball from freezing. We have shelter against the elements, and that's our wintertime bonsai protection. Okay, so these are kind of like tips for what you should do and not do in the winter. Number one, don't cut off any roots or branches. The roots act as a nutrient storage for the plants throughout the winter. If you cut off roots in the fall or the winter, less nutrients for the tree, and then, you know, the tree might die or whatever. Also, the plant isn't growing, so, you know, the roots might not grow over and seal up the cut off wounds. Also, if you cut branches, I see a lot of people cutting branches in fall and winter. I really don't recommend doing that. If you were to cut off a branch, you'd have an open wound, and in the fall and winter time it won't callus over. So I recommend doing pruning in the springtime when the tree is growing, because that will seal up the wound. If you have an open wound in the winter, you know, there's a number of things that might happen. It might, you know, start affecting the branch. The branch might start freezing and dying. So don't do any pruning in the fall or the winter. The next part is watering. How do you water a bonsai in the wintertime? Well, with this heating cable that I installed, this soil never freezes into ice, so the soil remains damp, and it's cold, but it's not frozen, so of course there's moisture in it, and the tree is able to use that, because of course plants need some moisture in the wintertime. Basically, with watering, you kind of just do it minimal amounts of water. You don't want to soak this. Keep it moist, but more towards the dry side, so just slightly damp soil. And I will repot this when this turns into a bonsai. Of course, it's in a training pot, so regular soil. So just keep it slightly damp. One important aspect is that you should have fertilized your bonsai in the fall. If you're watching this in wintertime and you didn't fertilize your bonsai in October or November, I don't want to say, you know, you're fucked, but it would have helped, because the fertilizer acts as an antifreeze, which helps the branches and the roots not, you know, die in the winter. I'm not saying that it's 100% going to die if you didn't fertilize it in the fall, but fertilizing gives it a very good chance of survival because of those antifreeze properties of the different elements it absorbs from the fertilizer. So I guess that's basically it for winter bonsai care. If I forgot anything, I'll come back and do another video. So this is the final winter setup. We have it in the box with the blankets over it and the heating cable inside on the bottom. We've got the top kind of covered with this just to keep it keep the surface insulated. By the window, we have the roof over it, so that's basically the winter setup for the bonsai.